You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel.
And it is in these bone-chilling temperatures that UPS's seasonal employees make sure that all of the packages that you order get to where they need to go. But according to this lawsuit, when those seasonal workers would clock in is not always when they would start getting paid. That's Christina Garcia during her early days working for the global shipping giant UPS.
My first 4 years, I was a seasonal helper.
Christina has since moved up in the company and is now also a member of Teamsters Local 804, but says she also remembers the sacrifices she had to make along the way from October to January during the busiest shipping period of the year.
So if I got to the building at 8:30, and my first stop is not till 11, I don't get paid until 11 o'clock.
Their paychecks did not reflect the time they spent on the job.
New York State Attorney General Letitia James says that constitutes wage theft, and on Monday announced a lawsuit against UPS following a 6-year investigation that relied heavily on the vigilance of union-protected employees.
When our drivers saw that their seasonal helpers were not getting punched in at time or were doing work off the clock, they reported it to us.
James says if successful, the lawsuit could claw back tens of millions of dollars in allegedly unpaid wages to seasonal workers.
UPS delayed clock-ins, auto-deducted lunch breaks that workers never took.
A UPS spokesperson telling Pix 11 News the company is aware of the lawsuit and, quote, UPS takes all accusations of wrongdoing seriously and denies the unfounded allegation of intentionally underpaying UPS employees. We offer industry-leading pay and benefits to our more than 26,000 employees in New York, and we remain committed to following all applicable laws. A.G. James says if this lawsuit is successful, it could claw back some $45 million in unpaid wages to seasonal workers. In the South Bronx, Jay Dow, Pix 11 News.
If you've been shopping recently, you might have noticed signs posted at registers explaining that stores may no longer provide pennies when giving change. That's because the U.S. Mint made its final circulating penny last month, marking the end of a 232-year production run of the coin. Sun-Times reporter Mariah Rush joins me now to tell us what the downfall of the penny means in Chicago business. Hi, Mariah. A penny for your thoughts?
Hi. Thanks for having me.
So I know penny production has been a topic of conversation for kind of a while. What tipped the scales? What really made the U.S. decide to stop manufacturing Abe Lincolns?
So it comes down to the numbers. Basically, over the last decade, the cost of producing a penny has risen by nearly 160%. It actually takes 3 pennies to create 1 penny. And so the higher cost led President Donald Trump to urge the Secretary of the Treasury to suspend production. And they estimate that the move will save $56 million each year.
3 pennies for 1 penny. That's quite a chunk of change. So how are stores adapting to this?
Some, like Uniqlo at Woodfield Mall, is asking cash-paying customers to please provide exact change only or pay with a card. But largely, they're choosing to round in favor of the customer to the nearest nickel. So round down when customers are paying and round up when it comes to change.
Has the federal or state government advised businesses on how to best handle this change?
So no, that is a major complaint among businesses. Businesses are still waiting for any guidance at all. I talked to the CEO of Illinois Retail Merchants Association, and he's asking for clarification both on the state and federal level. But the U.S. Mint says there's enough pennies in circulation to continue to price things in 1 cent increments and in like 99-cent increments.
It's funny, too, because you're used to seeing, something priced, as you mentioned, at like $9.99, $8.99, and it seems like we're going to see a lot less of that. Will this have an impact on the economy that we as consumers would feel, sort of like I just mentioned, not seeing signs or markdowns geared toward the $8.99 mark?
So I spoke to a professor of accounting at UIC, and he said the change will only throw off a company's accounting at first, but he doesn't expect it to have a measurable impact on the economy or inflation, and everything will kind of even out at the end. But he did say that the discontinuation is likely to affect customers who use cash more often or smaller businesses more than other retailers.
Yeah, and a lot of small businesses still rely on cash being king. Some shoppers do too. And the shoppers you did talk to, what did they say? Was it creating any headaches for them?
Honestly, not that many people really cared. They said that they primarily pay with cards, and if they use cash, they don't really use pennies at all. But the accounting professor I talked to said that it's reasonable that people would kind of have a nostalgic attachment to the coin. He called it a cultural icon. And so even on a gut level, that's understandable.
Yeah, certainly remembering at, 7-Elevens or gas station that leave a penny, take a penny. I guess we're saying goodbye to that. That is Sun-Times reporter Mariah Rush. Thank you, Mariah.
Thanks for having me.
North Carolina.
I'm Julian Berger. Immigrant-owned businesses in Charlotte are struggling 1 month after U.S. Customs and Border Protection conducted immigration enforcement raids throughout the city. Many customers no longer feel comfortable being out in public, or they don't have the money to shop because they haven't been able to work. Step into North Tryon Laundromat in Charlotte's Hidden Valley neighborhood. Business is slowly picking up again as customers begin to wash bags full of dirty clothes. Last month, CBP agents arrested people in the laundromat's parking lot.
This was right outside the laundromat, and I know that guy.
Owner David Rebolloso showed me the video he recorded outside his business. He says the laundromat has been a ghost town ever since.
It's practically empty, more than half of the cars that used to park there, because that was kind of a measure of how the activity was, how busy the parking lot could be. But it's dropped significantly.
As other businesses nearby closed, Rebolloso decided to stay open.
When customers come to the laundromat, they come to spend an hour or two, and so it was important for us to help in that respect.
Even so, Rebolloso says he lost more than 50% of his profits since last month. Other businesses are feeling that same impact, like at this Colombian restaurant on South Boulevard, which asked WFAE not to identify it by name because of ongoing concerns about government action. It opened in early November.
From Thursday to Sunday, I had no availability, no way to make any more reservations. Basically, there was a 1-hour wait to get into the place.
That's its manager, Andrea. 2 weeks later, as CBP began its operation, that changed, even though the restaurant stayed open.
There were no profits during that week, basically no gains at all. The loss was evident in every respect.
As a new business, Andrea says they're struggling to pay off loans and bills as business remains slow.
People are still afraid, and even if they have enough money to say, okay, I can go out to eat, they decide not to. They decide not to do it because they don't want to expose themselves.
Down the road in East Charlotte, La Morenita Bakery closed for a full week.
We actually were forced to shut down. The biggest hit that we took was actually on that Saturday. I lost about $3,000 in sales. All in all, I lost about $10,000 at least.
That's owner Ray Hernandez, who says the bakery is still struggling. When I spoke to him at 2 p.m., he had just made his first sale of the day for $7.
I feel bad because 95% of our clientele it's Latinos. And that typically, like I said, they walk around here and whatnot, and people are afraid to go out. There are people that are not working.
His husband, Frei Lara, owns Lara's Beauty Salon on Central Avenue. When I arrived, the front door was still locked as a precaution to protect employees and customers from CBP agents.
It's been 4 weeks now that we've been affected because there's practically no work. People are afraid to come to these places.
The holidays are typically a busy time for salons. Stylist Juan says that hasn't been the case.
We are practically working at less than 50% of what is normally produced during these times. So it's really a loss for everyone.
Greg Asciuto from Charlotte East says the economic impact feels worse than the early days of the COVID pandemic, a comparison other businesses made as well.
You had concern, fear, business owners that impacted everyone. They didn't know how to keep themselves safe, their customers safe, their employees safe.
Charlotte East surveyed over 90 businesses during the first week of the CBP operation. Nearly half said they closed for at least 3 days, with an average daily loss of $2,500. Asciuto says he's unsure of when the business landscape could get back to normal.
With a month of disruption at this level, still going into the holiday season, not clear on what things are looking like, I don't know. It could be 6 months. It could be a year.
Businesses like North Tryon Laundromat are now finding creative ways to bring customers back.
Create a safe place where people can come in to my laundromat, to my business, and feel comfortable, feel safe that we we are going to be looking out for them.
And they're bringing back some joy in life to immigrant-heavy corridors that have been mostly quiet. Rebolloso and his team have hosted salsa dance lessons and holiday gatherings since the CBP operation. Julian Berger, WFAE News.
Former employee sues Youth Symphony of Kansas City, citing racial discrimination. A former employee of the Youth Symphony of Kansas City is suing the organization, citing violations of the Missouri Human Rights Act. Greg Carroll, a 63-year-old black man, is suing the symphony for discrimination and retaliation regarding treatment he alleged he endured, as well as for his termination, according to court documents. The symphony is accused in Carroll's lawsuit of violating the Missouri Human Rights Act, including 1 count of discrimination and 1 count of retaliation. Each count is seeking more than $25,000. Carroll was hired in June 2019 for his extensive experience in the Kansas City arts community, he contends in the lawsuit. Throughout his employment, Carroll claims he performed all his job duties, exceeded expectations and oversaw the expansion of the symphony's donor base. During his time at the symphony, Carroll raised $1.7 million and brought in stable relationships for the symphony, but said he did not receive merit-based pay increases or performance reviews, in accordance with his compensation package. Non-black employees, however, did receive such increases, court documents allege. Those who were not black, younger and had not made complaints were treated more favorably, even when they engaged in unethical and potentially criminal business conduct, the lawsuit alleges. Carroll claimed in the lawsuit that he wasn't given a chance to defend himself or given due process for a report made about him that led to his termination, which he alleged was treatment unlike what he'd seen other non-black employees face in the past. He further claimed he experienced a hostile, discriminatory and a retaliatory work environment. On top of the unlawful termination, Carroll alleges he faced discriminatory pay, benefits, verbal abuse by board members, the failure to investigate race-based discrimination or harassment and an investigation done without due process. Workplace incident cited in firing. On November 6, 2024, there was a staff meeting about a fall concert to take place on November 10. Carroll's department was tasked to set up a table that would sell merchandise as well as other things, according to court documents. A non-black assistant to the artistic director had been to a prior meeting, so Carroll asked if she could either secure the tables from the venue needed or connect him with the right person to do so. According to the lawsuit, Carroll struggled to hear back from her and never got confirmation the tables were requested. On the day of the event, a staff member at the venue requested that the symphony ask for tables and other fixtures in advance, and Carroll assured they would put everything back and to make sure requests were made correctly next time. Witnesses to the exchange did not see it as combative or disrespectful in any way, according to court documents. Near the end of the concert, Carroll alleged he was harassed by 2 white men because of his race. Staff at the venue and Carroll de-escalated the situation, according to the lawsuit. Campus police were called, and Carroll and others were interviewed. He requested the report, which was copied to the executive director of the symphony. Carroll claims in the lawsuit that the executive director did not interview Carroll or investigate the incident. The incident was never discussed, he said, and he was never checked in on to make sure he was not experiencing any post-harassment distress. Upon Carroll's termination in February, he was handed a file. Among other things was an event report from the night of the concert on November 10, which included allegations of him being rude to venue staff during the setup. The lawsuit alleges the report was rife with inaccurate and one-sided allegations against Carroll. When he asked to prepare the report, the executive director refused to disclose and claimed the organization received the report in December 2024. Carroll was given the post-event report for the first time during his termination meeting, the lawsuit claims, and he did not get any prior notice that the venue staff had raised concerns about him before it was used as a reason to fire him. On March 26, Carroll filed a charge of race and age discrimination with the Missouri Commission on Human Rights. On September 23, they issued its notice of right to sue the symphony. He has requested a trial by jury. The Star reached out to Carroll's attorney and the Youth Symphony of Kansas City for comment, but did not immediately hear back.
So how's the college responding to this incident?
We're having a race forum.
And what's that?
A forum on race, so we can discuss the incident and the surrounding issues of race.
So the usual lip service?
No comment.
Former UNC Charlotte worker sues school after undercover DEI video got her fired. A former UNC Charlotte employee is suing the university for discrimination after a viral video of her suggesting diversity and equity policies were still occurring on campus led to her firing in May. Janique Sanders was an assistant director in the university's Office of Leadership and Community Engagement. She also was the subject of an undercover video posted by the conservative activist group Accuracy in Media, or AIM, which was viewed nearly 5 million times. In clipped scenes of Sanders, she's discussing the university's use of DEI policies. However, the university repealed all of its DEI policies last year. While Sanders noted the repeal, she suggested that the university was still adhering to those policies under different names and initiatives. She was fired in May, a day after the video went viral and as the Department of Education was informing universities that they would lose federal funding if they didn't eliminate DEI policies. In the suit filed on December 22 in federal court in Charlotte, Sanders alleges she was fired based on her race and that her First Amendment right to free speech was violated due to her termination. She also alleges that the university did not investigate the claim against her, nor did it give her a reason for her termination. Sanders' attorney, Artur Davis at HKM Employment Attorneys LLP, which is based in New York, said she didn't violate any university policies during the taped conversation. Instead, she was just voicing her opinion on DEI. Sanders went on to express her personal viewpoint that while DEI had been abandoned as a matter of policy in the UNC system, its original values ought to remain vital parts of campus life, the lawsuit stated. Race was at least a motivating factor in university's termination of Sanders. Sanders is African American, the suit noted. The university doesn't comment on ongoing litigation, University Deputy Chief Communications Officer Christy Jackson said. UNC Charlotte lawsuit details. The AIM video showed Sanders being asked about the university's diversity, equity and inclusion policies. According to the lawsuit, the video was recorded in October or November 2024 when two people came into Sanders' department inquiring about job opportunities related to DEI initiatives. Last year, the UNC System Board of Governors repealed its DEI policies and dedicated offices, launching a new institutional neutrality policy. That was in line with policies pushed by President Donald Trump. In the video, Sanders is seen saying that while explicit DEI positions no longer exists, the university is still operating with that mind frame. We've renamed, we've reorganized, we've recalibrated, so to speak, Sanders said in the video. After the video went viral, Sanders received a text from the university asking if that was her in the video and later letting her know that an investigation would occur. The lawsuit alleges that an investigation did not happen, Sanders wasn't questioned and, to her knowledge, the university never asked for nor watched the full video. In a previous statement from the university, officials said that Sanders' statements were inaccurate and she was not authorized to speak on the issues discussed in the video. UNC Charlotte added that Sanders was not a policymaker. Sanders' defense in UNC Charlotte DEI case. Sanders began working at UNC Charlotte in 2021 in a dedicated DEI office. When the university repealed its DEI policy, Sanders was moved to the Leadership and Community Engagement Office. According to the suit, leadership in Sanders' new office said they wanted to preserve core aspects of its prior mission without running afoul of the Board of Governors' anti-DEI mandate, which is what Sanders reiterated in the video. The suit adds that Sanders was expressing an opinion when she said that DEI still mattered to make sure that students feel supported. Since this was Sanders' first disciplinary offense, the suit noted that termination isn't a typical move. Sanders is seeking compensation for lost wages and emotional pain but did not cite a specific amount. Instead of defending one of its own stars, the university bowed to bigotry and the threat of political backlash, Davis said in a news release.
After a fire destroyed the USS Bonhomme Richard in San Diego 5 years ago, the Navy renewed its efforts to prevent shipyard fires. Military reporter Andrew Dyer says a new report found President Trump's federal workforce reductions are hurting those efforts.
The Government Accountability Office says the Navy doesn't have the fire safety staff its own investigations called for after the fire. An ATF investigation said the fire was arson, but also that conditions aboard the ship due to contracting work helped the fire spread out of control and destroy the ship. Shelby Oakley monitors Navy contracting and shipbuilding at the GAO. She says over the last 5 years, the Navy's made significant efforts to improve fire safety, but
it's just that those efforts didn't really focus on what the contractors were doing and how we're overseeing what the contractors are doing to hold them accountable to ensure that we don't have another fire like this.
The Navy's investigation called for more oversight of contractors during maintenance and overhaul. But the GAO says Trump's executive orders restricting federal hiring, compounded with buyouts and early retirements this year, are directly affecting the service's ability to follow its own advice.
We've been seeing it across a number of our other efforts that those have been having a significant impact on staffing within the Navy specifically, but other services as well, too.
We reached out to Naval Surface Force in San Diego as well as the White House, but neither responded. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
Context of White Supremacy. Much obliged, Mr. Fuller. Needed an extra second or two. ProduceJustice.com. That's it. The worthless Negro from Virginia, Gus T, in for another broadcast. No holidays, no holidays, no holidays. We were here for Thanksgiving, yes. And that's not even anything like, ooh, I'm bragging. Not today either. I'm just reiterating. No holidays. Racists don't take no holidays, especially not for white Jesus' birthday. Attempted counter-racists, we are here, and with a long record of being here on December 25. Other holidays too, Halloween, July 4, whatever, New Year's Day. We've done bunches of those too, but Dr. Cambon, long tradition, has hung out with us on December 25. Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, Dr. Rasayan, the late, great Pamela Evans Harris, lots and lots and lots and lots of folks. So long tradition. December, you should just dial in, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, December 25. You already know we will be here for sure. Neutralizing Workplace Racism. We definitely are not taking no day off. If you are a non-white person, because this here is not for spectators. If you are a non-white person, you hear what they did to the UPS workers? Wage theft from seasonal workers. You sat around today, opened up all these gifts and griped and complained. You didn't get me what I wanted from Amazon and all that. Thank the UPS workers at least. I ain't say you got to have no cookies or baked goods or eggnog waiting for them. Just, hey, pay me what I'm owed. Don't be stiffing me on my hours. That's why we are here. Neutralizing workplace racism. You know who the seasonal employees are. They say we seasoned on the plantation. Remember that? Delectable Negro. Always a season for wage theft. We talked about that last week. But if you don't have to worry about that, matter of fact, you didn't have to work today. You have to do no holiday parties. You don't have no wage theft. They don't delay clocking you in. None of that. You don't have to worry about no pennies. You got a fat bonus. If they gave you an end of the year performance review or employee review, let you know how you're stacking up with your duties and such. Have you improved over the last 12 months or what have you? Sparkling. Highest score you can get, type of that. You want to frame this. When I ask for a promotion or a raise, bow. Look at that score. Look at that. Look at that. Exceeds all performance evaluations. Wow. Super competent. Punctual, here on time, always. He attended the Christmas holiday party. 30 minutes only, though. Get that raise, man. If that is you, employee of the month, you got a parking space right up front, about to get a raise, promotion. No, it's going to be looking great in 2026. Let us know. How did you do this? We need as many tips as possible, especially to get that bonus and or raise at the end of the year. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. the email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Before we get to the audio reports that we heard at the top, Gus T literally sprinted away from the oven, had to ditch my apron and all, flour flying in the wind to come and broadcast. But man, not for white Jesus or the wise men out in our manger, but just got to eat on the plantation. It's a delectable Negro. Got to eat on the plantation. So, for white Jesus's day, Gus T made vegan meatloaf, crackling cauliflower. They have that at Whole Foods sometimes. If you go, mashed potatoes, mushroom gravy, dinner rolls from scratch. Just came literally out of the oven, piping hot. I was so disciplined you could have heard me salivating or breathing if I had snatched one, but they literally came out of the oven right as I was starting. I even timed it up perfectly so I could be done cooking, have everything done, and then go broadcast, can eat after we are done, West Coast. But man, the rolls came out so great. Take a picture, what have you. But eat well, use logic. Hopefully if you are eating with attempted family members, victims of white supremacy, eating something healthy. That I heard it's supposed to be good luck. You're supposed to eat ham on December 25th. Maybe that's why I'm a worthless Negro from Virginia, although I will say I ate a lot of ham. When I was porky and tubby, I had a bunch of ham. I don't think that gets you anything but hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I can't think of no health. I had to look and see, are there any health benefits to eating ham, especially on December 20th? Why would that be? Did they have that in the manger? Baby Jesus, he was eating country ham? I swear I don't remember that. Anyway, put the ham down. If you're going to hang out, eat some cauliflower, man. Veggies, squash. Eat something healthy. It's not going to kill everybody. Anyway, the reports that we heard. Number one, the UPS workers, like I said, now we talked about wage theft last week, and I suspect a big part of this is, man, it was so eye-opening for me to hear. We had, I think, Helen in New York. She was telling us, one of her privileged black male coworkers, he was not going to get his bonus check corrected. They had issued him a check for his end-of-year bonus, hopefully as large as possible, 3 times what it was last year. And so he got his check, but it had the incorrect name on the check. And you can't go to the bank and get no black mail, get your check cashed, and it doesn't have Leroy and this guy Jonathan or, Herbert. But he wasn't going to go to finance, or I think it might have been the actual owner at this place or the head white person in charge, what have you, not finance or whatever. But either way, you have to go talk to a white person and say, oh man, there's the incorrect name on my check. Can I get a new check issued? Here's the old one. Here you go. Not trying to do anything funny. If I could just get a newly correctly issued check, thank you so much. He did not. He was reluctant to do this. Fear. Now, thankfully, victim of racism, she was able to get help and get correct wording to help him go in there and get those nickels. But why? And then to have that same week, last week, when we heard the person who wrote in, he said these non-white people took him down like into the dungeon of the place where he works at. And we're like, hey, brother, how have you been treated? And they pointed at the back of their hand like, how have you been treated? The reason, and I guess, they had been kind of what they call it, grilling him, where they're really tough and asking questions and doing all of these things to see if he's qualified and competent to be employed, I guess probationary period type thing. But they weren't doing all this to the white employees. And they say, well, we do this because, they're tough on the privileged black males. If you say anything about this, we will kill you. They didn't say that last part. The way he explained it, it was so dramatic. Like, wow, that's what I thought they should have said. But they said, if you say anything about this, I'm going to lie and say it never happened. I said, man, that is fear. The late, great Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she said repeatedly, in fact, we, victims of racism, maybe even people classified as black specifically, we should have a conference talking about how we are afraid of white people. Man, it shows up glaringly in the workplace. Now, it shows up everywhere on the plantation, because I say, hey, all of us, victims of white supremacy, we qualify as cowardly. That is a whole nother topic, but I mean, hey, Gus T, if you're a victim of racism, we are cowardly. Exhibit A, we haven't solved this problem. Not even close. Not even close. That's it. That shows up in the workplace, and when you get people who are fearful, I know for myself, probably you do too, times when you've been really afraid, it is difficult to think well, to make great decisions if you are really afraid. They're going to do something to me, and I've been threatened and terrorized. Ooh. And I think that is a lot of non-white people, particularly on the job. These white people are going to fire me, and I'm going to get in trouble. And that is totally legitimate fear. Fuller call it intelligent fear. Facts. But wow. I'm not going to get my paycheck? We got to take you down into, like as he said, it was a part of the building he had never even seen before. Like, where are we? And then, shh. We gonna ask all the questions. Like, what is going? Fear. I have greatly underestimated how much of a force fear of white people is in the workplace. Now, I've said repeatedly, hey, you go on that job, you don't have brothers and sisters, you're not looking for tag team partners, another non-white person got your back. None of that. If you get anything, constructive assistance, help, advice, even a hello from another victim of racism, non-white person in the workplace, pleasant surprise. And don't expect it tomorrow. But fear, having not, and in fact, I would even say a lot of the things that we talk about, the gossiping, white people being able to manipulate non-white people in the workplace to go gossip, snitch on, get other non-white people in trouble, go, we're going to take notes, spy on you, and go report back to race soldiers, all of that. It's easy to get non-white people to do that sort of thing when we are fearful and confused about the system of white supremacy racism. And that's practically all of us. You get that together in a work environment, like, oh my God. That's what everything would be about. Just be courteous to other non-white people in the workplace, professional, try to be helpful to the degree that you can, but I mean, hey, I don't have no high expectations in terms of their conduct or how they're going to treat me, or they're going to be courteous, or none of that. And even facing our own fear, because, man, I am afraid of white people, period, full stop. My fear of white people notwithstanding, I have never been in a position on the plantation to say, white people then wage thefted me. I didn't get all the nickels I was supposed to get. Oh, well, they scary. I'm going to just have to let them have that one. I have never, ever, like, oh, my God, I can't get no peanut butter. You won't have no meatloaf this time. Like, Lord Jesus, I have never been in a position. So, hey, white people are scary, but we're going to have to get it together. And we were told last week, apparently one of the things that can be helpful in mitigating that fear, get your words together precisely, and that might even be write out exactly what you need to say. And some of these can be very short conversations because you're just asking a question. Is it possible to get a corrected check? Leroy on there. Leroy, please. Thank you. Capital R. Capital R. Thank you. Easy question. Easy question. Sometimes that's all it's going to be. Couple questions. Thank you in there. Be polite, courteous, and professional. But that might help in mitigating fear. And even with other non-white people, I don't have high expectations. We're just going to be professional and courteous, which I am with everyone. So I'm not really, it's not like I'm after us to go hang out and be best buddies and we're going to be texting and talking on social media and things. None of that. We don't have no group texts and none of that. Professional, courteous. That's all. And the other thing I say all the time, speak in the workplace. If you're talking to a non-white person, if you're talking to white people, group, whatever, if you're talking aloud to yourself, you speak as though every word that comes out of your mouth, it's going to be transcribed. It's going to be recorded, video, translated to at least 100 different languages, available on YouTube for at least the next 150 years. At least. That's the way you speak every time you open your mouth in the workplace. And if you are not sure, hey, you could just say that, sir, ma'am, Pam, I'm not really sure. I have to get back to you. If you give me a little time to think on that one, I will get back to you. Hard to get in trouble for saying, I don't know. I'll have to check on that. Hard to get fired for that one. That might be something you're supposed to know, but in most instances, you can say that and check in with them a little bit later and give your response after you've had some time to think about what you want to say. But minimizing that's why I say not doing a whole lot of running off at the mouth. That's one of the biggest. Just not doing a whole lot of chat. I was saying, Mr. Fuller, when he talks about us being the entertainment committee and we go on jobs and doing all that laughing and joking, a lot of times we got to do the dozens and talking bad about other black people, non-white people, even during the holiday season. Got to do that. That, I think, comes out of fear. We can get back in our comfort zone. Hey, we might even get in good with white people. Racists on the job, they see me going on Leroy and talking bad about his old raggedy shoes and what he done wore in here, and he got that old jalopy car out there in the lot, and I get on his old nappy head, and they won't find it. Maybe they get on Leroy. They say, boy, he sure is funny, boy. He get on Leroy good. Keep me in stitches. Entertainment, that's out of fear. What do I do? Talk bad about a black person. Yeah, there we go. Whew. Or doing jokes. He's the entertainment committee telling jokes, and you hear what Cat Williams said yesterday. Go. You seen the new Dave Chappelle special? Go. It's not necessary. Just you're working. Why do you need to talk at all? You're working. Morning, afternoon. I never say be a mute in the workplace. You talking. Certainly, we're trying to get questions about bonus. What's that dungeon at downstairs? Do y'all have like hidden tunnels here or anything like that? It might be lots of questions about your work environment, raise, training, policy and procedure updates. It's all kinds of questions that you got about the workplace that you need to ask that does not pertain to you being funny, talking about sports, criticizing other black people who work there. None of that. Managing our fear in the system of white supremacy, racism, and in the workplace. Very important. Intelligent fear. Fuller talks about that all the time. Workplace is for sure a place we can work on and get better with that. Managing our fear of white people. Probably why a lot of us don't talk to our offspring and such about our workplace experience, because it's so terrifying. Like, man, which is even more of a reason to talk to your offspring. Like, I know for a lot of people, they're afraid of heights or afraid of water because we can't swim. That doesn't mean you don't talk to your children about these things. Water is dangerous, right? Pools and all that. Anyway, but UPS sees it. Hopefully they managed their fear. They did, apparently, because we got a lawsuit and all that. Letitia James stepped in. President Trump was about to fire her, remember? Had the lawsuit, everything like, get on out of here. Tisha James, get on out of here, up in New York. And then they threw that out so she can stay on her job and keep on for justice. Let's see. I played the report about them doing away with the pennies. One, Fuller, I just mentioned, he worked at the Bureau of Printing and Engraving. I think that's the people that would have been doing the pennies, right? That's the U.S. Mint and all. Would have been curious to hear his thoughts about that. I don't know how long they've been talking about dumping the pennies and such, but I'm sure he saw a few of the Brown brothers, old Abe Lincoln, get produced. Anyway, they were talking about the impact on businesses, and they've been talking about this for a few weeks in terms of small businesses having penny shortages, and they can't do exact change, and which you heard asking customers, you got to give exact change or rounding up or pay with a credit card, debit, something of that nature. Man, it's all kinds of things. If you are an entrepreneur and you are not white, it's all kinds of things that can, what can they say, throw a monkey wrench, cause problems for you. White people switch up the currency, and oh my gosh, what are they going to do? We heard that with COVID-19. They said, man, you got to shut down. Can't have no people come inside. We can't have you spreading germs and all that. Any of the tariffs, anything come along and just mess everything up. All of this shit, once again, not saying for non-white people victims of racism to avoid going into business, not saying that at all, just saying, man, do not think being so-called self-employed will solve your problems with the system of white supremacy. Contraire, mon frères. No way. They mess around and say we're going to do away with nickels too. What? Let's see. They had the report, speaking of entrepreneurs, and they were talking about North Carolina specifically. I said the tariffs. I didn't mention, hey, what if you use some of these folks, non-white people who came from Mexico or someplace else, they weren't born here. Uh-oh. Eep. You rely on any of them to do work for you. Eep. Maybe they're afraid and they come to work. Maybe they don't. Again, lots of non-white people, very popular, say, forget them, we shouldn't focus on them, they don't like black people. Once again, I have concluded most of you, if you are classified as black, you are not a fan of black people either. Gus T at the top of the list, Cat Williams, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, you don't like black people either, so duh, nobody likes black people, whether they were born here or not. Anyway, these are victims of racism. I don't have no confusion about that, even though they may or may not have affinity for me as a Negro. These non-white people, man, we got businesses. My non-white, non-black brother, Ray Hernandez, they didn't say he was in love with black people. No problem. Not white. He said, man, we got our business here in North Carolina. Bakery struggling. Got our non-white, non-black employees. They afraid to come to work. We done lost about said we done lost hundreds of dollars. I think he did say it amounted up to about $1,000 that they lost, if not more. Man. How long is this going to go on? How long has this been going anyway? Smaller businesses with non-white people, what they say, they got thin margins. A lot more difficult for them to sustain if this is going to be a prolonged period where your customers feeling the pinch, as they say, metaphor, where they don't have funds to go out and shop, or what I just say, fear. They are afraid to go out and shop, might even be afraid to work. Dang. I don't know how many problems you can be causing black people if you're afraid to go outside to get a donut or afraid to even go work an 8-hour shift. Maybe they stay at home on the group chat and call black people names. Anyway, all of that, white supremacy, racism, and more examples, being an entrepreneur, that will not solve this problem. They heard from, in Missouri, Greg Carroll, 63-year-old privileged black male, and he got a suit in Missouri against the Youth Symphony, looking for $25,000 for each violation, where he said, hey, I'm 63, I'm qualified, I'm competent, I'm intelligent, I'm here to do great work at the symphony where I don't think affirmative action has allowed black males to take over and just get all the symphony jobs. I don't think. Is that true? Do you know? Anyway, so Mr. Carroll, they said, man, I done brought in all this money for the symphony, youth symphony here in Missouri. So he done brought in about $1.7 million. I ain't get no raise. Let me get a penny. They don't make pennies no more. Sorry, Mr. Carroll. 1.7 million. Matter of fact, that reminded me, we had a black female. She worked college institution. She was doing the same thing. She was getting money. I think that was her. She had similar type job. She was working for a school, not a symphony, but job, same thing. Get donors, and wealthy white people call them whales. See, they just got all kinds of money. They don't know what to do with. See if they'll give us, 4 or 5 of them brown brothers so we can do something at the symphony or do something at the school. And the young lady said that she might have done the same thing where I done gotten millions, of dollars, at least a good $500,000 or so. I done brought all this money in. I ain't getting no raise. And they done find some race soldier to come and say, this nigger woman, she actually did not get all million. I think I did about half of this. I don't remember when I did the work, but in my mind, it seems like I did about half of the work. So I think we should split the credit. We got $1 million. She got about $500,000, and I got about $500,000. I think I might have did a little more than $500,000, but I don't really remember. Anyway, we'll do it that way. She'll get $500,000, and I get $500,000. And that's the way they did it. Like, dang. Like, wait a minute. This white woman didn't do nothing. Like, how did she get it? Well, we're going to be reasonable with this. We're going to be fair about this. We'll divide up all the credit. That's sort of, and you're not going to get no raise. Very, very common, unfortunately. And Mr. Carroll say, dang, in addition, I done brought in almost $2 million and didn't get no raise. I done seen all these non-black. I thought that was significant. So he didn't just say, I done seen all these white people. It was specific. I have seen all of these non-black people, maybe Ray Hernandez cousins and such in Missouri. They got raises, promotions. Hey, even when they were engaged in unethical, perhaps even criminal conduct. Whoa. That was one where I was like, it seemed like y'all should have extra information. Like, is there any merit to that claim? Were there individuals who were engaged in criminal conduct who still got a raise? What was the nature of this criminal conduct? Like, what are we talking about? Like, jaywalking? Driving under the influence? Child pornography? What are we talking about? Like, break it down for me. And didn't Fuller just say that? I played at the beginning before we went live. Fuller said, shout to Off the Wall, privileged black male he said he was in the unemployment office with, who would also keep you in stitches. That's the entertainment committee, see? But shout to Off the Wall. We don't want to be off the wall. That's probably response to fear, too. But we don't want to be another generation of off the wall. What kind of nickname they give for black people? Anyway, but they said, my black brother, Mr. Carroll, out here trying to get a raise, and he didn't get none of that, but he saw the non-black people advance. I told you, Fuller said that. He said, if you're white, you don't get fired. He didn't say criminal, but he said he saw white people. They were messing up big time, messing up property and all this other old stuff. Got all their promotions. White people don't get fired. And apparently it might be black get back. Non-black, non-white people, maybe we don't even go as hard on them as we would Leroy and Lakeisha. Racial hierarchy. Black get back. Brown stick around. Yellow mellow. White is, I'm going to say, might, because they got the power. You, of course, are right if you got the might. Now, they said, importantly, Mr. Carroll, in addition to all of this, he was denied due process when they fired him. I said, oh my goodness, Mr. Fuller would have had such a big smile, like, go get you a lawyer immediately, Mr. Carroll, which I guess he did because they got a lawsuit. We'll have to see if he comes out successful. But man, Fuller talks about that all the time. 5th and 14th Amendment, due process. Now they can fire you, but there should be due process about all this. What did you do? And especially if you can go get those performance evaluations. And what do you mean I got fired? What did I do wrong? This is my first infraction. How am I fired on my first infraction? Unless I've come to work like snorting crack or tried to rape the owner of the company or somebody during the middle of the symphony. Like, what did I do to get fired? I didn't brought in $1.7 million. I didn't get no warning, verbal warning, written warning. Do I get an opportunity to get retrained? And they said they held that function. He was threatened by a pair of white dudes. What? I get threatened. Where's the security at to come in? And one, this is the symphony. Like, I could see if we were at the Chiefs football. Aren't they playing today? My man, go right on Chiefs and such. But I could see if we were at the ball game and we done had 15 beers or whatever it is, and we mad, team lost, and Patrick Mahomes and got hurt out for the season. We gonna go to the Super Bowl. I can see we mad. We gonna cut a fool and curl out. Get away from me, Mr. Carroll. I beat you in your head, you nigger. And I don't listen to no coon. I can see all that. You at the symphony. Aren't they supposed to be refined? Don't you get your tuxedo and you put on something nice, put the cashmere on, the young lady get the black dress. You're not supposed to be fighting at the symphony. Like, what is? Come on, man. It's racism, white supremacy. What Joe Louis say? Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. We'll beat your coon hind parts at the symphony. Youth Symphony too. Come on. Anyway, but he didn't even get assistance. No assistance at all. And then they come back and say, hey, we got reports that you were threatening people, Mr. Carroll. One, I thought they said Mr. Carroll was 63. How many older, I'm not saying that you don't have older people who are, 80, 90. Strom Thurmond lived to be 100. So, I mean, you can have race soldiers who are doing it late in life, but dang, how many 65-year-old, you close to retirement, how many of them are going around threatening people? Particularly 65-year-old black dude going around threatening someone. Like, whoa. I don't know, that just, anyway. Hopefully all of this will go to court. We'll get all the information, including what sort of criminal and unethical behaviors were your colleagues engaged in where they still got a raise and a promotion, Mr. Carroll? That's the thing. I hope you got meticulous notes, dates, times, the nature of the violation, all of that. And Mr. Fuller, he's talked about that for years, so that's nothing strange. You tell people to expect that too. Next, we heard, now this is also North Carolina, Janique Sanders, black female. I found this report fascinating. This is the Charlotte Observer. They said that Janique Sanders, she worked in the Office of Leadership and Community Engagement at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, not Chapel Hill. She said that, or they reported, someone came into her office with a video camera. I guess someone with the organization, I've never even heard of this group, Accuracy in Media, and it sounds like they have some sort of objective about, oh man, these universities, they're still doing all the DEI and all that. Now again, where was all of this for all the decades that they had affirmative action and let all these unqualified Hillary Clinton white women in the colleges across the land, got all these white women, they outnumber everyone at law school and everyone else, have taken over college campuses across the U.S. and elsewhere. Where was all the affirmative action then that, hey, they're here and they're not we don't want all these unqualified white skirts and Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all that. Get on out of here. You're not even qualified. We're tired of it. Where was that then? We just DEI mad at the black people. Okay. So this group, Accuracy in Media, they come in and they got their camera going and they're asking about DEI policies. And they say that Janique Sanders, victim, she responded by saying something to the effect that we don't have DEI, but the, I guess, objectives and goals around so-called DEI we still have, but we've had to shift our focus or reword things, if you understand what she's saying. They record all this and upload this online. She gets fired. Now, she said the same thing. How did I get fired? I haven't had any workplace transgressions before. I haven't been written up for anything. Why would this be immediate termination for my first offense? We'll put that in quotes, my first offense. If I did do something wrong, I don't even know. They'd have to tell me, like, what did I do wrong? Like, have they had training or something where you are not supposed to say the letters D, E, I in that ordering, because we could lose funding and President Trump will get on our hind parts something good. Like, anybody ask you about DEI, we don't have it at all. That's another one. What I just said, they should give you a specific statement. If it's, you need to talk to such and such a white person, bang, give me their contact information, and that's what I say. If it's, we can't talk about that, hey, we don't talk about politics or DEI in the workplace. But just give me the exact policy around what are we supposed to say or not say. And if this, is this some white person, the accuracy in media who came in and did this so-called undercover recording, is this some white people who are saying that you got reverse discrimination at UNC Charlotte and y'all still doing the DEI and getting these no-count black people? Is that what this is? Because they said they got 5 million views and all. Is that what this is? And the consequence, we fire a black employee, Miss Sanders? Come on. Like, man, one, I would want the pie. And anybody, like I said, we just had the young lady, she worked at school or what have you. I would want to know, do we have a policy? If someone comes in, if it's a student, a parent, if they're asking about enrollment, a job, whatever, and they say something, has DEI policy, has it been removed, or, I'm a non-white person, or I'm LGBTQ, or whatever. And I want to know, do you still have DEI resources or ambitions at the university? What are we supposed to say? And that's another, you can put it in the question lane. It is great to be fearful, and you could even say intelligent fear. Hey, I am afraid. I don't want to make a misstep and get myself in trouble or get the university or the school in trouble. What are we supposed to say if someone comes in and asks us about our DEI policy? What are we supposed to redirect them to someone else who bigger pay grade and they answer all those type of questions? Tell me give me their name, contact information, and that's what I'll do. That's an easy one, no problem. But just tell me what we're supposed to say and what are we not supposed to say? Give us all that new memo, update policy and procedure. But I mean, if you all haven't said anything, if you had a so-called DEI policy and positions and all of that, and then you change all of that around, and it's now wink, wink, we did the change. But if somebody come and ask you, you don't tell them we changed it. Ixnay on the change. You need to say all that up front. And that's what I'm saying. I would ask, if you work any sort of institution or if they had you in HR, what are we supposed to say if someone asks do they have DEI? Because you have no idea. Anybody could be recording. They could have the body camera on and all of that. So what are we supposed to say? And then say that every time. Please, and I would ask too, please let me know if this policy changes with regards to we're supposed to say something else, or we're supposed to refer them to a different person or anything like that. Let me know, because like I said, you can be honest. I am afraid of saying something in error that might cause a problem here in the workplace. You can be totally truthful, what they say, transparent about this. And then they can direct you the best way to respond, where you keep your job. But I'm super looking forward to what happens with this case. And same thing, more details. Who are these people? Accuracy in media. Like I said, is this a bunch of suspected racists who are promoting that racist propaganda that white people are victims of racism and they're taking our jobs and they're trying to DEI and all this? Because they said President Trump got in, like, hey, they threatened them like, you're going to lose money if you all are doing this on the same type of a thing. So is that what this is? This is a racist setup type of a thing that also got a black female fired? Repugnant. And then the last one, it was about the U.S. Navy, them not having an adequate number of workers for potential fire hazards on the ship. They said they just had a ship. I could have sworn they said it was arson, but that, like, whoa, on a Navy ship, it was arson? Like, whoa. I need more details on that. But anyway, they said that after their investigation, they found that, hey, we need more people so that we can adequately respond, make sure if there is a fire, it doesn't burn the whole ship down. Man, I have said for years now, This would be another one. Dealing with managing our fear in the workplace. I have said for a long time, black self-respect might be for the workplace you confronting your fears, our fears of white people, losing our job and all the rest of it, to address a safety concern. Sometimes it might be, hey, do I want to be on the ship that burns down? Do I want to figure out what words I need to say to ask a question to address a potential safety violation? Every job should be concerned about safety violations. That would be a massive red flag to me if there is a potential safety problem and you bring this to someone's attention in a professional, courteous manner, asking questions really, and they shut the hell up and get out of here. We don't care about no safety and blah, blah, blah. Ship burn down, you just keep working on it. Whoa. I don't want to be on this job. Is this Boeing? We got planes falling out the sky and screws falling out the plane. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, man, I'm going to have to get out of here. And I'm saying that totally truthful. Man, sometimes you have to make an assessment like, whoa, do I want to stay in an unsafe, dangerous work environment? They do have fires, yes. I break Amazon. They had that warehouse where they had a tornado and the worker said, man, I don't know if it's safe here and all that. And they said, hey, you keep working it. Hey, you delivering. Don't you stop to urinate. You drive the truck. We got prime delivery. People looking for their Santa, stocking, stuffer. You drive the car. You urinate later. But the tornado, you drive the car, you urinate later, and the tornado struck, and I think they had about 6 employees died, all the rest of it. Hey, black self-respect. I might get fired. That could happen. You work the job and die. Hey, you've been fired anyway. You're not coming in tomorrow. You're going to get replaced. Safety might require black self-respect. Get the courage, get my words correct, and address this problem as best I can. Safety, and particularly, how much is this something that could be a fatal safety violation where someone could die? Ain't me? Is this something where someone could just get a small boo-boo? Is this something where it could be an accident? Like, what is the nature of this safety violation? That should greatly dictate your motivation for action and figuring out, I'm going to have to say something because, especially if I could be harmed. Oh, no, every job, all of my fingers, toes, teeth, eyeballs, all of them that I came with, I'm supposed to leave with every day. If I need to speak up and say something to make sure that happens, let's get to speaking right now. The plantation is inherently unsafe, so unfortunately, that's probably going to be all of us. I wouldn't care what job you work. You're going to probably have to step up and say something about safety violations because it is so rampant. That might be the black self-respect. Safety first. Safety first. Paycheck don't matter if you don't get home with all your fingers, right? Right. Won't be making no meatloaf or rolls. You ain't got all your fingers. Now, let's see. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 #. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Not for spectators. If we have folks, if you had to do the holiday parties or any of that nonsense, or if you had to work today, hopefully you got holiday pay, but hopefully we got lots of victims of racism who did not have to work today. Be at home, rest, clean, whatever. Eat healthy foods, be with your attempted family and all the rest of it. But if we have any folks, if you had to go to the office holiday parties, seasonal workers, any of the other order nonsense we've had to deal with the holidays in the workplace, let us know. As always, folks, if you have any strategies how to mitigate, solve problems in the workplace without creating new problems, let us know. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. While folks are doing their packages and slobbing down the last gulp of eggnog, I'll get in one email. Let's see. email number 1, *61 for other folks. If you have commentary, let's not sit around. If you have things to share, waste time for our December 25th. Email number 1. Hi, Gus and Cal's audience. Fred, who withheld information on 2 issues. Fred is the one, he was supposed to complete this task like last year. I mean, like 2024. And he slacked them out. I got distracted. Netflix, I done fell behind. And they ended up turning the project over to this black female. And now they found out 2 years later, like, hey, wait a minute, that thing Fred never even, man, we got, and then they finding out and trying to get all this together, and even Fred being slack, continuing to be slack rather, about even letting them know, like, hey man, you were supposed to finish this last year, man. We almost in 2026 and you ain't done. Well, yeah, I was gonna get around to that. I just, it's been hard. All this foolishness. Anyway, she continues. She says, Fred withheld information on 2 issues that should have been resolved over a year ago, which is very much white facts. I realize now that it wasn't an error for sure. He didn't do what he was supposed to do and covered it up. That is lying. From time to time, he offered to support the work I was doing and alluded to ideas that he had to make improvements, so I thought he was extremely helpful. He initially didn't want to let go of the project, and I assumed he was passionate about the work. Now I know he was being deceitful and lazy. That is the crown of white supremacy racism. Oh, of course, there won't be any consequence for his action or lack thereof, because white people don't get fired, they get transferred and sometimes promoted. I'm now on leave until the 12th of January, whoopee, but almost didn't get to take leave. Senior management wants to have a few people working over Christmas and the New Year holiday period. There's usually only 1 or 2 people. Beginning of November, we're asked to enter our planned leave on a spreadsheet for the whole directorate, which totals a few thousand people. We're then told early December that our leave is confirmed. Early December would have been weeks ago, I imagine. When we then formally book leave on the online system, which is then approved by the line managers. This has been the process ever since I joined, and I've never had a problem until this year. Senior managers did not confirm our leave, so right up until last week, we were waiting for notification. However, Harry, our director, sent around his calendar invite for his Christmas leave, so everyone knows the dates he will be out of the office. That was my request. That was my cue to request my leave. I did the request online and sent the team my calendar invite on the 9th of December. I told you all weeks ago. But it wasn't until the following week, Tuesday, that Tristan told everyone it was okay to take leave as he hadn't been told otherwise and Christmas was a week away, so it's too late for management to say otherwise. I was due to start my leave on the 19th, that'd be last week, of December, and to return on the 6th of January. Hey, Insurrection Day. Tristan was also due to begin his leave on the 19th of December and to return on the 5th. However, he didn't approve my leave on the HR system, so late afternoon on the 18th, I sent him an email letting him know that I was adjusting my leave dates so I would work the 19th and return on the 7th of January. I said I hoped that was okay, even though he hadn't approved it on the system. He had been responding to emails all day, including some sent after the email about my leave, but didn't acknowledge that one. I logged on Friday morning, still no word from Tristan. I checked the HR handbook, which clearly states that written confirmation must be obtained before taking leave. He did log on Friday morning, even though he was meant to be on leave. He left a message for me in the team online chat about a separate matter. The fact that he sent that message confirmed that he had seen my email, but he logged off at 12 p.m. without approving my leave and wished everyone a happy Christmas. Dastardly. My brain was spinning exactly as they hoped. And this is another one where I would say fear. I'm not talking about her specifically, but I mean, this would be me. I put in my leave request. I did everything. And I worked here. This is not my first go round with the Christmas holiday and doing leave. I've done all this before. I've never had a problem. The policy hasn't been changed. So I did all the paperwork on time. And to get no response, even a, hey, nigga, you didn't fill out the paperwork correctly, or your leave was denied, or whatever. Pick new dates, or, whatever. Nothing. You just get what they say, ghosting you on this specific issue only. They love that. Those positions where they can leave you in total limbo. He doesn't know. Do you have plane tickets, to go and leave on the 19th or the 20th to go be with relatives or your family or yourself? I'm going to just take my own little vacation and power through it so I can come back rejuvenated and feeling good for the next year. He doesn't know. And I don't care. I'll mess all that up so you don't know what's going on. Am I going to be fired if I take my vacation and it's not approved? Are they going to mess them? Oh, no. You better have your hind parts in here to work on the 19th or you won't have a job to come back. That sort of thing. They love that, to just have us in total disarray. I don't know what's going on. What should I do? And then people are leaving left and right, so you can't even talk to anyone because he's, Christmas break. He won't be back till next year. I don't know. All by design. Continuing, my brain was spinning and I was feeling exhausted. My last annual leave period was August, but it was disrupted because of right-wing Ashley's false allegations, so I didn't get any rest and have been dealing with non-stop racism ever since. That is the plan for all of us. No rest, just to have us under constant duress, anxiety, and biting our nails. She says, so I spent the weekend contemplating whether to take my leave, even though Tristan had only given a verbal approval, but decided against it. Something did not feel right. Other people in the team were also due to take leave, but I decided against asking them if Tristan had formally approved their holiday, as I don't trust anyone. Intelligent. Then I remembered that the online system allows you to view the leave of people in your team. Confirmed leave is shown as green. Unapproved leave is shown in purple. Tristan had approved everyone else's leave, but not mine. That sort of thing too. Come on. Now, if I put my leave in way late behind everybody else, but okay, I got it. Understood. That's my fault. I shouldn't have been slacking, and that's what you get for procrastinating. But she said I put mine in early. As soon as I saw the other person put his leave time in, Harry, I think, bang, I'm right in too. And and the same thing I said, if I did something wrong, if it's been rejected, why don't you just let me know? Then I can plan accordingly. That's not what they want. They like our brains spinning. I said before, you can't think well and make great decisions when you are fearful and stressed. I said that? Okay. Let's see. Everybody else confirmed but me. Let's see. I was the first person to request leave, and the system sends notifications, so there's no way he missed it. He had sent me a separate notification via the online system that same week, extending reasonable adjustment, which allows me to only go into the office 2 days a week instead of the required 3 days for the year ahead. Another reason why he would have seen my holiday leave request. Unauthorized leave is a disciplinary matter. I'm not sure if would have acted on the matter in January or brought it up later, but clearly he was trying to set me up. I took screenshots of everything. Bravo, bravo. The calendar invites I sent to other members of the team, which provides the date everyone requested leave. The calendar invites they sent to me, the approvals on the HR system, team chats, etc. Monday morning, I logged on as usual and messaged those who were working that day, letting them know I'd changed my leave plans. I then sent Tristan an email stating that I canceled my leave as he hadn't approved my request on the HR system before he took annual leave, and that I would now be working through the Christmas period. Surprise, surprise, Tristan logged on 1:15 p.m. as he needed to check something and saw my email. Of course, I must absolutely take my planned leave and we can sort it out on the HR system in January. The fact that he logged on 2 days into his leave when there's no urgent reason to do so, didn't apologize or make an excuse, let me know it was a deliberate act of racism. Not that I was in any doubt. I shall be applying for jobs while I'm on holiday and preparing for interviews. Super intelligent. Always say keep that resume up to date, sharp. Know when you feel like you've had enough. But man, and in my view, I think that is so important. The same way that I say for, really, not all white peoples is racist. My assessment, things like this, I think we are much healthier, and I think we can respond much better when we understand this is not accidental. This is not a whoops, oh my goodness, and I just said, nope, that's not what it is at all. White people like to do things just like this. Disrupt your holiday plans, vacation plans. Like I said, you didn't know she had plane tickets, train tickets, family coming in. No clue. We love it. Mess all that up. And even if it's nothing more than having you bonkers and oh my God, are they what? Maybe I should cancel. What? Oh my God, what? It's not everybody else is approved. Why is mine not? I'm gonna send screenshot. All that takes time and energy and stress. He already said, man, I can't even rest. I'm exhausted, man. And lying and doing all this stuff deliberately, and it just keeps going. Keeps going. At least in my view, this is not an accident. Knowing that for the duration helps you manage, and even it's so trifling and what have you to grasp, like, yeah, see, it's no apology here, none of that. And even being honest, when you put the leave in, if you put it in on December 1st, hey, you could put the leave in on March 1st. You putting in so-called Christmas leave in the springtime. Even then, I would expect the exact same behavior from people classified as white. They come and contact you on December the 12th. Did you put your leave in on time? I don't know. We told you about waiting until the last minute. Wait a minute. I put this in March. What? March? Oh, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Who puts leave in March? You wait till everybody, or you procrastinate next time around. You putting leave in March. Of course I didn't see it. You didn't put it in 8 months ago and go that. Always got some kind of justification for we didn't. And only you. Everybody else is approved and what have you. It's just you that's in limbo. And are they? I don't know. That's the system of white supremacy racism. And in my view, she handled it as best you possibly could. Put in my request early. I took screenshots. I contacted all the people. And even you might have to be prepared to say, hey, this might be a setup to see if they can fire me, because it's a disciplinary issue if you take off and it's not approved. And that's the case in many work environments, regardless of how long you've been there and all the rest of it. So I might have to be prepared. And I would say that for anybody. You might have to be prepared, or race soldiers to come and tell you, oh, no, I know we approved your vacation. But, we got to renege on that. I know we had some people quit, and it's been a long year. You know, Trump been acting a fool. So, yeah, we will need you to stay in it. Just expect that. Even if they lie, if they don't do that to anybody else, that is the system of racism. So, brilliant. In my view, she handled it exact, perfect. did everything that you could, and then they come in tacky at the end, like, oh, no, just go ahead and take off, just take off, and we'll, figure it out next year. They could have said that a long time ago. Work on my resume, and hopefully you can enjoy your weeks away from all of the trashiness and deliberate, dishonest racism. Then got to come back and got old Fred. Now it'll be 2 years official that you've been loafing and lazy and lying. See my alliteration there? All that time, and you still ain't got the work together and making up lame excuses for why you couldn't have told us this when you transferred the project, or really, why did you get all this done last year? System of white supremacy. I might even say that is another deliberate part of the sabotage. We're going to pass this project off to a no-count black female, and as opposed to telling her everything up front, and you don't even have to say, I was slacking and I didn't want to do this. Just, this portion over here, y'all have to get some catch-up work. We had some delays in getting things taken care of. But yeah, just let me know if you need help. You could even do that. He could have been magnanimous about it. Let me know if you need any help getting this part catch up. I'd be more than happy to, do a little as we transition the project. More than happy to come in, give a little time if I have, and we'll get that part finished up too. He didn't do that. Lied about that the whole way. Do all that lying and sabotaging. It's deliberate. It's willful. It's what it means to be classified as white. Much obliged. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. Untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Not for spectators, especially if we have any folks. You have any tips on making sure you are not a victim of wage theft? We for sure need assistance on that. Certainly if you have any other tips that would be beneficial for victims of white supremacy, how to deal with all the nonsense from the holidays and all the rest of it, let us know. That's it. We'll give folks another 5 or so, see if they have commentary, if they're too busy sloshing eggnog and still opening presents and such for the holidays. One, if White Santa was beneficial, helpful, left lots of goodies for you, make sure you invest in the context of white supremacy. Hit the blog racism-notes.blogspot.com. racism-notes.blogspot.com. PayPal button in the top right corner. Beneath the PayPal button, you'll see the links for Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. Enormous gratitude to all the investors who kept us on the air for 17 years. If we're here in February, hopefully we have been accurate more often than not, and helped non-white people, victims of white supremacy throughout the known universe, get a more accurate understanding of what white supremacy racism is and how it works. You can also hit the wish list, Amazon.com. It is listed under Gus T Renegade. The Amazon wish list is linked at the blog as well. Again, enormous gratitude all the listeners who've nabbed an item or 12 from the wish list over all of the years as well. We will be here on Friday. Stupid so-called holiday got me confused about the dates. So tomorrow, Friday, we'll be here for the Catherine Massey Book Club, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, session 5 on William Rosenau's Tonight We Bombed the U.S. Capitol. Again, they've had all those bomb plots for the end of the year and New Year's Eve. They arrested that group of white people sitting in California and one in Louisiana. Said they were had all these IEDs planned for New Year's Eve and such. And then the white man in Louisiana, same thing. They were going to get the ICE agents with their improvised devices and such. What does it mean to be white. Tim McVeigh, Ted Kaczynski, and a Columbine, all of that. But that's tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, Boxing Day. And then compensatory call-in on Saturday. We'll review what has gone down over the past 7 days on the plantation. Final Saturday of the 2025 calendar year. I say again, sobriety would be best from now through probably the end of next weekend, because they'll still be acting a fool. Call it New Year's Eve. New Year's weekend, first weekend of the new year. I would not, especially if you are younger, newer driver, you haven't had your driver's license too long, I would not be out late. When I say late, after the sun goes down, after 9:30 p.m., 10 p.m., I would not be out late at night. They will probably have sobriety checkpoints out in certain locations, and I think they tend to put those in places where more dark people live. You do not want to have unplanned contact with race soldiers, badge or no. Late at night, you've had spiked eggnog, Mad Dog 2020, or whatever. And I said, even if you get the Uber, you do it correctly, you go to the tavern, you get your shots or whatever and celebrate right on. Okay, you get in the Uber, even if they got sobriety checkpoints and you get pulled over in that. I'm not interested in having to talk to no race soldier. I've been drinking. Where you going? What you do? And stay in one spot. You can leave in the morning when you are sober. The system of white supremacy does not stop for holidays. And in fact, one that people should remember, wasn't Michael B. Jordan in the movie Fruitvale Station? Folks talked about that, said it was great and all that. Not one of my favorites, but people talked about all that. I thought Oscar Grant, wasn't he killed on December 31st, 2008? Maybe my memory is bad, but I could have sworn. Year might be incorrect, but I know that was December 31, so-called New Year's Eve, and he even did it correctly. Let me take public transportation. I might have a swig or two, that way you don't have to worry. What I just said, sobriety checkpoint and all of that. I said the same thing. Stay inside. Lots of armed race soldiers. You do not want to have unplanned contact with race soldiers. Johann Meserly, wasn't that his name? Out on the BART platform in Fruitvale. I was there last year at the Fruitvale station specifically. Took pictures and everything. I'm good on all of that. You can ring in 2026 if you have to do that. Do that in the safety of your slave quarters. Just my suggestion. Any hoodles. Let's see. Folks have commentary, suggestions for the workplace, how they got through the holiday on the job, and or any other suggestions, seasonal workers, or they did any of that lame wage theft nonsense to you. Let us know. We'll give folks maybe 5 minutes, see if they have things to share, or maybe might have had lots of folks who did not have to work at all this week. Now, if that is the case, bravo for everyone. If you didn't have to be in the workplace or what have you at all, grant, be constructive with your time. Hopefully you can sleep well, rest well, and we can get back being constructive and codified, safe in the workplace next week, last week of 2025. Anyway, hopefully, folks, if they are spectating, not being mistreated in the workplace, you should be compiling a tremendous list of ways non-white people can protect themselves and or minimize the abuse that we experience on the job. Is it figuring out policy and procedure and using that to try to keep yourself safe? If you figure out some other techniques, what to say, what not to say, trying to minimize some of the mistreatment in the workplace, let us know. Like I said, take notes about your specific situation. If you figured out some things so that you're not dealing with lots of abuse from non-white people or white people. Lots of folks talking about victims causing them difficulties on the job as well. You don't have to deal with any of that. Let us know, what did you figure out to make things a little bit more, or a little less challenging for yourself in the workplace context? Let us know. We definitely look forward to appreciate tips and suggestions. That will be the case in 2026 as well. Any hoodles, let's see. Folks are spectating or doing their gifts or whatever else. Make sure I didn't miss any emails from folks either. Let's see. Got that one. Folks are looking like they got all their thoughts or observations in, or just spectating for the holidays. We will be here at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Friday for the Catherine Massey Book Club Session 5 on William Rosenau's Tonight We Bombed the U.S. Capitol. Again, I would encourage folks, I have noted this pattern for a minute, where they have had all kinds of wacky bombings on Christmas Day, or I can't even say wacky, violent. It's straight out of the Turner Diaries. It's been like across the country. They had one that was like North Carolina. They had one that was out here, Pacific Northwest, as they call it, Washington State area, Oregon. Man, I just check the news to see if they have any reports of any arrests, plots, or even any attack. I had forgotten that one in Tennessee where it was a white dude. He bombed the cell tower. I think that was right on Christmas. That was like 2020, 2021. Man, check the news just to be sure they don't have any of those. So that would be another reason why I would not be out late. Be in case anything untoward should take place, then you can take appropriate actions and make sure you're hunkered down and safe. But man, at least check the news to be aware if anything like that happens. Kind of make sure you have your plan together if there's any sort of emergency event, anything dangerous take place. If the power gets knocked out, because I know that was some of the attacks. It's wintertime now, so power going out, that might knock out the heat. People might not necessarily have a backup generator and all the rest of it. If you have young children, or even, just if it's you, like, man, some places it is really, really cold. Like, that could be a life or death situation quickly, especially if the power doesn't come back on quickly. So be mindful of these sort of events, because it's been a growing trend. They just talked about that so-called group, the Turtle Island Liberation Front. And they were one of those that got arrested. They were supposed to be having plots for New Year's Eve and all the rest of it. So just be mindful about those sort of events. Maybe even pass it along if you're around other relatives and such, just to be alert. Maybe make sure that you have some supplies in case power goes out. That might not be a bad idea, even just for weather reasons. But you never know. White race soldiers also could cause mischief as we so-called ring in the New Year, as they say. That's it. We will be here about 24 hours. Do it up for the Catherine Massey Book Club. Sobriety would be best under conditions of white supremacy. I would say even for the holidays, especially for the holidays. There's already lots of craziness this time of year anyway. People drinking too much and acting a fool, either staying in the house and then they get into all those wacky arguments. They spend so much money on all the holidays and everything else, didn't get the right color Christmas tree and all that other old foolishness. So, man, keep it constructive if you can. You do not have to hang out with the relatives if you're not going to be constructive. You already know this is going to end up being a argument because we didn't get the right gift or whatever else. So we got to bring up the football game and mad because we done lost money on that or whatever else. Keep it constructive. If it can't be constructive, same thing I said before, you can dip out early on that too. If that's not constructive, that's fine too. You can catch everybody once things have calmed down. We'll try again in 2026. Sobriety would be best, and make sure you share with young people. Cannot emphasize that. Oscar, if nothing else, that could be a great reminder for people who forgot. Oscar Grant. Hey, what? Oh, the Fruit Festival. Yes, that was on New Year's Eve. And he, like I said, trying to do the right thing, took public transportation and still didn't work out correctly. Man, shout to Oscar Grant. That said, Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other victims of racism. We ask that you help remind us, stop saying not all white people are racist. Remind us, stop wasting non-white people's time and energy. Help us maximize our time and energy to replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Remind us, stop producing throwaway offspring to be raped by Mary Kay, drowned by Susan Smith, white women. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. You're a victim. Man, I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my condition. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.